Sisters and brothers, as we share with you some of the names of those who have died over the past year, know that this in many ways is part of the celebration of the offering. We celebrate by mentioning these names, by bringing up these people who were among us and are not among us in the same way now, as a celebration of those ways in which they gave to God's church and gave to God's people.
Gerald Jones. Jerry Jones held a BA degree from Sioux Falls College with a major in psychology and minors in music and history, and attended the Southwestern Seminary in Texas. Ordained in an American Baptist church in 1950, he served churches in Washington, Wyoming, and Nebraska. He also served as a chaplain in the U.S. Army from 1953 to 1971. He received UCC standing in 1972, and he served the Nacelle UCC until retiring, but he continued to serve as a supply pastor. He is survived by his wife, Colette, and we give thanks for his life.
Jane Kelsey. Jane passed away on June 1st, 2010, at the age of 86. She was married to Frank Kelsey on December 23rd, 1980. Frank has standing in our conference where he served in churches, United Ministries, and as an associate minister of our conference. Jane became a member of University Congregational United Church of Christ on December 4, 1994, and was a member there for 15 years. She is survived by her husband Frank and her children, and we give thanks to God for her life.
Sayadachi was born in San Mateo, California. Along with his family, he was interned at the Tanforan Assembly Center after the outbreak of World War II, before he earned his bachelor's degree from Jamestown College in 1946. Seichi earned his Bachelor of Divinity from McCormick Seminary in 1951, was ordained in 1952, then served at the Seattle Japanese Presbyterian Church. He earned a master's degree from Columbia University Union Theological Seminary in 1957, and an education degree from the Teachers College of Columbia University in 1960. He taught at the Pacific Lutheran University from 1967 to 1999, and was a mentor and role model to countless numbers of students. He is survived by his wife Yoko, son Derek, daughter-in-law Patra, and granddaughter Takimi.
Lincoln Reed was born in Boston on Abraham Lincoln's birthday and was confirmed at the Old South Church of Boston in 1935. He was a graduate of Boston University with a BA in philosophy and Chicago's Theological Seminary. In 1943, he married Barbara Carlisle, who preceded him in death. They had 4 daughters. He was ordained in 1949 in Denver, Colorado, and served churches in Colorado, Oregon, and Washington. He served as a minister of the First Congregational Church of Bellevue, Washington, until 1971. He retired in 1986, but went on to serve as an interim in our conference and in Florida and Hawaii. Lincoln served on 2 national United Church of Christ committees and local ecumenical organizations. He is survived by his daughters, Christina Carlisle, Catherine Faith, Margaret Hope, Barbara Grace, 6 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren. We give thanks to God for his life.
Stephen Edwards. Steve was the pastor of First Congregational Church in Dayton, Washington. He had been in the midst of treatment for cancer and related illnesses when he passed away. The Dayton Chamber of Commerce presented Steve with their Citizen of the Year Award in 2010. He was a frequent director and actor and has been instrumental in bringing live theater to his community. Steve and Rosalind were married in 1980. After receiving his MDiv from West Evangelical Seminary, he was ordained in Colville, Washington in 1993 for his call at First Congregational Church in Dayton. He was also a camp counselor at Unsitsen. Before ministry, Steve was a psychiatric nurse. He is survived by his wife, Rosalind, and his children, and we give thanks for his life.
Kathy Youth was born in Hartley, Iowa. She worked as a CPA before returning to ministry. She was named a Wilson Scholar at Seattle University, where she earned her MDiv. She was ordained on March 30th, 2003, after receiving a call to Tenasket Community Church. She served interim positions in our conference. Kathy was very active in and a tremendous help to our conference. She was the treasurer of the conference, a member of the board of directors as the Northeast area representative, and she was part of several annual meeting planning committees. On the national level, she was one of 12 regional consultants for women's ministries as part of her commitment to women's issues. She was a member of and choir director at Tolt Congregational UCC. Kathy was also a talented fabric artist. She is survived by 2 sisters, 2 daughters, 1 son, and their families. We give thanks for the life of Kathy.
Kenneth Rowe received a certificate of theology from the Augsburg Theological Seminary and continuing education in Oregon and Washington. He was ordained in the Lutheran Free Church and served churches in Wisconsin, Oregon, and Washington. He was the pastor of Plymouth Congregational Church in Tacoma. He is survived by his wife, Barbara Rowe, Elsie's son, the mother of his 6 children, his sons, Llewellyn, Larry, and Mark, his daughters, Nancy, Carol, and Holly, 9 grandchildren, and 2 great-granddaughters. We give thanks to God for Ken's life.
For these sisters and brothers who are now part of that great cloud of witnesses, let God's people say together, thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God.